Hey, hello, folks, and welcome to Let's Go Fishing. You can see this gentleman sitting over here on my left, Mr. Glenn Reynolds, Reynolds Racing and Marine. Glenn, glad to have you with me.
Glad to be here.
All right, sir. Good. Glenn's here tonight, folks, and pay particular attention to what we got. We got a bunch of stuff sitting on the end of the desk over here, and Glenn's here going to tell us about a lot of things for our engines and our boats and stuff and performance-wise. Right, Glenn?
Yes, sir.
All right. He's all geared up, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And so, you guys, if you're going to go to the refrigerator, do it now, because once I show the fishing film, we got about 6 or 7 minutes of fishing film. Why, we're going to come back and get Glenn on here, and we're going to talk about props and batteries and just a little bit of everything, Glenn.
Let's do it.
All right. One thing I wanted to tell y'all, last night I went to, Mike and I made a little trip over to Tellico Village with Bill Nichols and Paul Harrison, and Bill was invited over there to do to speak to that bass club over there, and they got about an 80-member bass club over there.
That's good.
Didn't know that, and had a great time. Got some film from over there, and we'll show that here in a few days, or some parts of it anyway, because we were there about 2.5 hours. But we had a real good time and enjoyed it, and it was real interesting, and got to meet some new people, and those guys get out and fish a lot there on Tellico. So we're going to go ahead and go to the film, and we'll show that, and then we'll come back and get into this technical support Glenn's going to give us on the engines and boats and stuff, and hopefully y'all have some good questions for him. Herschel, take us to the film, will you?
Hey, folks. Welcome to Let's Go Fishing. I'm down here with a fishing buddy of mine, Rick Whitson, and we're going down here, and we're here at Watch Bar. We're going down here to see if we can find some fish, and Rick's been working a lot of hours here lately, hadn't fished much, so he's kind of got cabin fever. And we're going to go out here and see if we can find some of these bass and what we can catch them on. So, and Mike, I'm going to be wearing the helmet. That hillbilly engineering there, I guess you'd call it. So we're going to try the helmet out again today, and hopefully Rick and I will catch some fish. So hope to see you later. All right, folks. Rick's got a fish on here. Rick, what you got there, bud?
Hey, I don't know. Feels like a good one.
Feels like a good one. All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty good little
Hey,
fish.
foul hook.
Foul hook, okay.
Ain't as big as we thought he was.
Ain't as big as he thought it was. Okie dokie. Sounds good.
Man, he's come loose off the hook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Got some sores on the side, too, Rick. All righty. Yeah. That's a good keeper. Okay.
There you go, buddy.
All right, Rick. Got a small fish on there. 1 second. All right, got him, Rick. Okey-dokey. He's little, but he was in there shallow, wasn't he?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Rick, I've got a small one here on this top water plug. See, I hope I got him on camera. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, now then. All right. You had to strike it twice to get it. Okie dokie. Yeah. All right, Rick, that's a good fish right there, bud. Good. Yeah, man. He struck out close to the boat, didn't he?
Yeah, I need to back off.
Yeah, that's good. right. Yes, sir. Nice.
First rig fish is since this
See if we can get another. All right, got another good fish, ain't you, Rick? Oh, it's smallmouth. I think the smallmouth are a good sized Kentuck. No? That's what that is, big Kentuck, Rick. That's a dandy. Oh, yeah. Sure is.
boys fight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this cold water, that's a good sized Kentuck, Rick. Sure is.
You don't want to give up.
No. 58-degree water. Oh yeah. That's a nice Kentucky bass right there, bud. He 2.5, 3 pound. That's a good one. Yes, sir. Pretty fish. Pretty fish. I'd like to catch them all day long right there. All right, Rick, that's nice.
That is a pretty fish.
Sure is. Okay, bud. Get you another. All right, Rick, looks like you got a pretty good fish there, bud. Oh, yeah. Nice one. That's a nice one, Rick. Man, that sunshine is working havoc on my screen.
Let's get
All
her
right.
finger, get her here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good job, Rick. Ah, hold him up there, yeah. Let me zoom in on him. Good boy. Yeah, that's a nice one. All right, Rick, get him back in. Let's get him up. Well, I love to see them black spots on him. All right.
That'll trap.
On a rattle trap. I wouldn't ever thought that. Yeah, I would have too. Right here in front of me, Rick, they're breaking again. They say record. Yeah, we're ready to go.
Say record.
Yeah, it's on there. Here we go. All right, Rick, I got a good fish on here too. Pretty good fish. Yeah.
Come here, fish.
I can't believe that fish is that poor. As much food as there is right here for us.
Well, you don't have much of a good cameraman here. I ain't doing too good.
Well, that sunlight on that screen facing forward, shucks, boy, I hooked him better than I thought I did.
He hit the crankbait.
Yeah, he hit the crankbait. All right, Rick. Got another fish there. Yeah. Nice little old keeper bass right there, Rick. That was on the spoon bait, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Had a boy. Yeah, nice little fish. We'll take him.
He looks good.
Okay. Yeah.
I may have to get the pliers to get this one out. Got him,
Okie doke.
I believe.
Yeah, boy. Good job, Rick. Let's get another one before it gets dark. Hey, folks. Rick and I are loaded up. We're fixing to head to the house, and Had a pretty good day, Rick.
Yeah, get real good time.
Yeah, sure did. Nice. Wasn't as near as bad as they thought it was going to get, and we did catch quite a few fish, and got 4 or 5 pretty good fish on the camera.
It was a good day.
All right, Rick.
It's been a while for me.
Yes, sir. Good. Glad we got to go, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've been. So we'll show this our Thursday night, and may even have you over on the show with me if you want to come.
All right. Okay.
All right. See you, Rick.
I see you.
Okay, bud.
All right, folks, back to Glenn and I, and I hope you got to saw that film there on catching the fish and that kind of thing. So if you've got some questions, you saw the baits. You know, we call them on Alabama rig, call them on the rattle trap, crankbait, spinner bait. So you know, kind of a diversified system there Sunday. We just throwing different things and caught a few fish on a little bit of everything. So had some 2 or 3 pretty nice fish there. I'd like to have those 5 best ones in the tournament. I've been tickled. But anyway, we're going to get with Glenn right here, and we're going to. I guess what we'll do is Glenn's going to show some things here, and we're going to talk about some things. Then we'll turn the phones on and call in and ask him some questions. And Glenn, what do you want to talk about first?
I'd say let's start with props. That's the biggest
props
section.
is a perfect thing. I love it.
We'll start with we stock hundreds of props. Here's a popper, one's called a Fury. It's 14 inches diameter, has a place you can put your vent plugs or sleeves, and you ask the question, what is that? This is like a torque converter on a car or a slip in a clutch. Mm-hmm. The bigger the hole, the more slippage you have. Okay. The smaller the hole, the less slippage you see. Mm-hmm. So it's, I believe this mic's about to get me down. Okay. And this is a good prop for a boat that lifts good, deep in the water. Yeah. Runs good. It's got a new blade technology. It's 14-inch diameter. Runs real good. Mm-hmm. Here is a new prop called a Pro Max prop. We've worked on it for 2 or 3 years. Now it is a 4 1/4 inch diameter. Okay. Some exhaust goes to the outside. Some goes down inside. And so they make the same blade configuration and just a small hub. Okay. But this is sort of a combination. Slip some without having to go to the vent system.
Okay. Now let's talk a minute about that slippage. If that thing doesn't slip, then you're not going to get up as quick.
It's just like it goes. It's like taking a truck in high gear, taking off. It's just it's sluggish. You got to have some tar slippage, like tar slippage or some prop slippage to spool the RPMs up to make horsepower. You see.
I got you. I understand. And I wanted to clarify that for me and a lot of other people that's watching, but that's what that's all about, folks.
And it is a fine balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get too much or not enough.
Yeah, you get a lot of spin out or cavitation they call it, or you can get a bog. Okay. This prop works good on Allisons and bullets or anything. It worked good on the Phoenix that you jack up quite a bit. Yeah. It's got 4 blades, and as long as you can keep a couple of them out of the water, it runs pretty good. If you submerge it real deep in the water, it don't work good. But it runs real good on a loaded performance bass boat.
Okay. All right.
So I guess
when you say performance, Glenn, and Glenn, you've raced boats for years. You've won a lot of trophies.
A lot of
championships, set a lot of speed. So you know about performance, and that's getting the top or the best out of the engine and the prop that can be had.
I like a boat to run good, no matter if it's a canoe with a 2 on it.
All right, there you go.
And it don't have to be a all-out race boat. It can be any kind of a product you see. Now we don't sell, but we sell Phoenix, and Allison Bullet, and Express. And by the way, I run that big 21 Luna boat over 80 miles an hour the other day. We're working on it. It's getting there.
It's getting there. Well, it's already there as far as I'm concerned, Glenn. But I'm gonna let you keep on fooling with it, and you keep driving it.
But it rides good. Rides good.
It's
But
as big as a barge. I think
props
that.
is a science, and like I say, they make tons of different pitches. And now pitch is how much a prop moves through the water theoretically in one revolution.
All right.
Now this one is a 25, I believe. I know that it's a 27. And when it turns to the water one revolution, it should go 25 inches, less about 10 to 13% slippage, you see. And that's what they call pitch.
All right.
And they're progressives. I mean, it's all different. As you see, it's all different pitches all up and down the blade, you see. So props is a science, and sometimes a prop will work good on this boat, and then the same prop won't work good on another boat. So every prop has its ultimate boat, and every boat has an ultimate prop. You know, and it's sort of a science to keep it all straightened out. You know?
Right.
And we have a demo program. If you buy a prop and it's $500 and something and it don't work, for $40 we'll swap it out for you. Causes some problems, but it keeps a customer from buying a high dollar piece of equipment and it not working properly. You see.
Right. I got you.
So we have Mercury Turbo, the Pro Max, with Pro ETs, and of course some Yamaha brands. So we got a good
selection of props. Yeah.
And it takes it to everything from a pontoon boat to a small fishing boat to the
right.
You know.
Well, even you just bring on a point there that just got my curiosity up. Even if you've just got a 20 horsepower, you don't need that thing slipping all the time.
Don't need it slipping. It needs to do right.
It needs to do right. So
the boat don't need the porpoise. It needs to run up there and level out and run good. You see.
All right. So, folks, even though we're sitting here talking 80-mile-an-hour plus bass boats or what have you,
but
we're down to the 20 horsepower, and it needs to perform right. And I agree with you.
We sell 90 horsepowers or 115s or 150s. All up and down the spectrum.
Okay, that's a good point. So if you're sitting out there and your 20 horsepower or your 15 or 10 is not performing, or your 60, you get with Glenn there and let him talk with you and try to get that thing doing right. So
just had a customer with a pontoon boat, and it was cavitating and spinning. Mercury has a new prop called a Spitfire.
All right.
It's aluminum. It's 4-blade. Put it on there, and he called back and he said it made the boat like a different boat. Just slide
across the water.
Slide the prop on the prop shaft and tighten it up. You see.
And that was all it took, was getting the right prop.
Yeah, do correctly.
Sometimes it's simple, it's just like you said. There's props for every boat. I've always, you give up one or the other. If you run real good on top end, then you lost a little bit on your hole shot, and so you kind of got a medium or got in the middle where you had a pretty good hole shot and good top end and that kind of thing. Is that bad?
That is true. Here's my criteria for a prop. I like one that's got a good hole shot, that handles good on top end, and sometimes the last 2 or 3 mile an hour is not the most important thing.
I agree.
How does it handle? How's it hole shot? Because fishermen go from place to place. So that's I take a GPS.
Right.
And I record my top end. And of course, we do sometimes from in your idle at 30 mile an hour on the monitor there, see how fast it is.
You accelerate, right?
And I was out the other day with one of these props, and I was going 0 to 30 in 5.94 to 5.85 seconds. That's from in gear idle to 30 mile an hour on the and I was out running the GPS on the Lowrance, you see. But that's somewhere in that range. We're getting under 6 seconds to 30 miles an hour, you see.
Right.
That's not a hole shot. That's up and run it till the Lowrance shows 30 miles an hour. And that's my test that I do.
Oh, okay. All right.
So sometimes the ultimate top end speed, and you got to have durability too. You got to have some kind of a blade thickness that's reasonable. In other words, you can thin them down like razors and go faster, but it's not good on the wash bar torpedoes, that you have to chop up sometimes.
Right. I understand that.
So there's a lot to it.
A lot to it.
And I've got a lot of years' experience of hammering and beating and testing it.
Granted that. I guarantee you. What's these black things you got sitting here with beside that prop?
Okay, some engines have solid mounts. Some of them have rubber mounts. I guess in the Pro Max series of Mercury, the 225s has a rubber mount. If you try to run that engine on a high-performance boat, you start getting in trouble. The 250 Pro XS has solid mounts, and it handles good. These are made for the Yamaha show, that SHO motor. They're rubber mounts, and I guess they build them where they're no vibration.
Right.
So we machined these made out of Delrin nylon, and it just makes the big four strokes handle like a different boat. You see. Now you don't show up till you get fast enough to get up on the pad.
Right.
And then as soon as you start up on the pad and the thing starts trying to chine walk, you have no control of it unless you got some kind of a solid mount system to control it. You see.
Okay.
So we make these and we install them. It's a pretty good job. We got to tear the engine completely down.
Yeah.
But we offer that as a service right now. And we've got them for the HPDIs and the new show four strokes. You see.
Right.
And of course, that's the bottom is a little larger, and the top one's a little smaller. You see.
Right. Yeah.
So that's just some of the stuff we do that almost none of the other dealers do.
Well, you know, I've had motors that, you know, used to now, Glenn, a few years back, you didn't have this hydraulic steering now.
That's true. You had
the old manual.
Had the manual, and almost all motors back years ago come with rubber mounts.
Yes. Yeah, I've swapped.
And
had a few swapped out myself.
I don't care how good a driver you are. When that motor back there is flopping around, you're not going to control the boat safely. You see.
Exactly.
So sometimes racing products or high performance products, it's not for how fast you go; it's how much comfort and control you have.
Got.
You see, sometimes it's not the ultimate top end. It's and I got another theory. It's called a percentile of top end. And you've been around. If you got a boat that run 80 miles an hour,
right,
then about 65 or 70 the boat handles good. If it won't do but 72, and you're trying to run it 72, it's more on the ragged edge. So we call it a 80-85% rule. Run a boat 80-85% of its top speed, and it'll always run and handle and get better mileage and do everything better.
Agreed. Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't run my engine very hard. You know, it's supposed to turn 6,200, and 5840, 5860 is about the top. You know?
Well, on Optimax now, that's the power band.
Yeah,
anything above that, it'll turn more, but it won't make any horsepower.
Any more horsepower. It just gets up there and it runs about where I think it's ought to be, and that's good enough.
That's
you know,
good
I
enough.
don't have to try to force it to get any more out of it. Just let it go, and it does great. I'm tickled to death with it, sure am. But you know, these motor mounts. If you're out there listening and you've got a boat that's getting wild on you, Glenn, he's talking technical. I'm going to talk to you man to man and person to person here, and that thing's chime walking, getting wild on you, and you can't steer it. You need to take a look at these solid motor mounts, and they, you know, they're Mercury's and Yamaha's and Evinrude's and all those, you know, all the engines. If I'm sure there's Forever Engine.
Some of them they build with solid mounts, and some of them they want more comfort and less vibration and idle and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But to me, if you can't drive it, it's not worth anything.
Yeah, true. If you're trying to run up there in speed, I agree with you.
And then the rougher the water, the more the mount system comes into play.
All right. That's a good tip right there, Glenn. Sure is. You know, and like you said, there's a lot involved in putting those things in an engine.
You're correct. You got to basically take the thing completely apart.
Yeah.
So that's down under the power head, and it's about a 4-hour job, the best you can do. You know, but it's the rewards are there. You see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely for a fact. What about the steering? I mentioned it there a minute ago. You know, we had the old manual steering, and then that was single steering at that. Then they came out when they got these engines went from 150s or 140s up to 150s, and then the 175s, and then the 200s. They came with a dual steering,
Yes,
and it was manual.
We had two types. We had down the same side, and we had opposed type steering that some of them use, and that done real good.
Right.
But still, though, after you've tried the new hydraulic systems, and you try to go back and,
Right.
I guess we were younger and stronger.
True.
And the new hydraulics is really nice.
Yeah. Agreed. Mike and I blasted off up there one morning at Norris, and we were in Andersonville, and we were on about a 50 mile. Let's see, how far? I think it was like 30 some miles to where we were going to fish, and about 3/4 of the way up there, I set her back down the water, and I said, "You're going to have to drive."
Relief driver.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But my arms was just, I was just numb. I said, "You're going to have to drive, Mike." I said, "I've had all I can stand," and it was just that torque on the wheel.
You mentioned chine walk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a few minutes. Chine walk is you've got to have your steering tight. You've got to have a V-bottom boat balanced. I mean, if you got a V-bottom boat and it's sitting when it'll run one-sided, then you've got to have the ability to drive it.
Right.
I remember when I learned how, I was young and I thought nothing could whip me. And I would come back in. I've been out in the wind. I was sweating, determined to hold on to it.
Right.
But it's something you have to learn, like riding a bicycle. You got to develop a skill for.
Agreed.
So don't be ashamed to run any boat at your comfort level.
Right.
I don't care if it's 55 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I advise to run it at your comfort level. Don't
try to do more than what you
I
can
guess
capable of doing.
you've heard the scenario. Is drive it through it, hadn't you?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I've heard that several times.
That does not work very well.
No, I guarantee you, Glenn, that's you just get to a point where that thing's swapping sides of the boat, don't you? And it's time to let off.
It's time to get back down in the water.
Back down the water and take it another day. And it took me a few trips when I got my first boat to learn how to
master that.
And it's just as simple as just a little tug. I mean, I was fighting the wheel, and
I know.
And you know what I'm talking about.
I've advised several people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you sell a customer a high-performance boat.
Yeah.
And, of course, I always take him a demo ride to show him how and that helps, but he's disappointed. I said, well, just run it, if it's 55 or if it's 60, whatever suits you, and then ease up a little bit, ease up back.
Yeah, you get into it. It does, and it was, like you said, it's like balancing a bicycle.
I ride a
And
bicycle.
when you learn how to do it, you can do it with one hand, two fingers, instead of both hands and gritting your teeth. It just like I said, it just comes to you and like that, and once you get it, it's no problem. At that point, you've got it whipped. Then move on to something else.
When I first tried to ride my bicycle, I cleaned out all the dirt and the gravels, and then pretty soon you stand up on the seats. And the boat's the same way. So you just got to develop. It's a skill, and don't, like I say, just don't be afraid to or ashamed to run it at your comfort level.
Yeah, I took. I just right quick. I've had a lot of several people come and get a boat and say, "Hey, man, I can't drive this thing." And I said, "Oh yeah, you can." And took them out, several of them in my boat, and then say, "Now look here, I'm gonna let this thing get away from me, but I'm gonna show you how you catch it."
How you catch it?
And then you just like that, and it just. And hopefully it helped them. I know it did because they're driving them just fine now.
That's true.
And but it will. Just driving it through doesn't work.
No, I've had a guy that wanted to try my Allison at one time, and he's still a local marine dealer, and it had an inline Mercury on it. Mm-hmm. I looked out there, and the old Mercury was laying this way, and he tore the emblems off the top of the deck, not off the side. Now he tore the emblems off the top of the deck. And he come back in. I said, "Rob, you're supposed to keep that wet side down." So I've been through a lot.
Yeah, so he turned it over.
Yeah, he didn't turn over, but it was plumb up on the
side.
The old Mercury, old tall Mercury, was supposed to be like it was laying like this, and the boat was running down the river, but it dug in and landed back. So I can tell a lot of tales.
I understand, but you got the right point, Glenn. Is don't try to push it.
Don't push
do what
it.
you comfortable
Be
with.
be safe and wear your life jacket.
Yes, sir.
I even wear my helmet when I'm out there, especially any kind of performance boat, because it just takes one bump on your head to keep you from being where you can keep the water out of your lungs. Even if you got a jacket on, you see.
Right.
Kill switch jacket, helmet, and a hot foot is some good.
A must.
Safety has got to be top priorities.
Yeah, agreed. Shucks, you used to you crank them in gear and that kind of thing, and you've had. I know you've dealt with that. Probably had several that you've
Cranking gear.
Yeah, crank it in gear and all this kind of stuff.
Coast Guard don't like that.
No. But the kill switch nowadays is standard on every engine that I know of.
It is, yes, sir.
And the hot foot or the foot throttle is something that you dealers install.
We do.
And to me, it's the greatest thing that's come along in a long time. If you hit the wrong wave or hit some waves, bounce you up out of the seat, and your foot automatically comes off the throttle, and that thing comes to idle, and so you're not sitting out there in the boat running around in circles.
I haven't run many boats without a hot foot, but if you ever have one and you hit that wave you're talking about, and you've got to fumble around and try to find the lever, it's done across it, but then so the hot foot is a very, very unique safety product.
I agree. Finest thing that ever was. The first boat for me, I spun out. It didn't have a hot foot in it, and all I seen was water and heard fiberglass popping, and I couldn't find the gear shifter, and I'm just glad I was by myself, because if somebody had been with me, they'd have been in the water.
Well, that's true.
And it spun the right way. I was against the side of the boat and that kind of thing. So I'm glad the hot foot came along when it did and got that in there. You got some more stuff for us. Let's talk about this battery situation.
Okay.
We're gonna get into this.
Technology is moving on.
Right.
Some of the batteries now weighs up close to 75, close to 80 pounds.
80 plus for me.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
now, this battery weighs 28 pounds.
28 pounds.
And it's 36 volt. It'll run a 36 volt. Then we have a charger that's a stealth charger that runs off of your cranking battery. So theoretically, you could sometimes fish all day long. The battery still
Be good. I mean,
still
hot
up,
battery. Yeah.
still hot battery. Lithium-ion technology is coming on in electric cars. It's coming on in everything. The only drawback right now is expense, and I'm sure it will come down as we go down the pike. But we've got several. What we get into, say any kind of a late model bass boat, and you put 3 80-pound batteries in the back end, right?
Right.
That's 200 and.
That's that third person you're carrying around.
Yeah, it's 240 pounds.
Yeah.
Then you put some of these chargers weigh as much as 30 pounds.
Yep.
That's 270. Then we put sometimes 30 to 50 gallon of gas in the tail end. And then we put 2 guys that's maybe been eating a little too much.
Yep.
And then you have a problem of getting on plane.
Yes, sir. I can see it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Live well full.
Live well full of water. Yep.
And then you have a problem of getting all that. So this, we begin to use these now. And it pays dividends every time you go to the lake. You ever think about that?
Well, I want you to talk about that.
Okay.
I thought about it, but I want you to give the viewers what we're talking about when you say that.
Well, the less weight we have
Right.
on any boat, the more performance we have, and quicker the hole shot. So every time you go at it, we use less fuel.
Agreed.
So yeah, this is about a two grand battery. But if you buy 3 batteries like you're talking about, and you buy a battery charger, then you're getting, and then it puts money in your pocket every time you go fishing. So I don't know. It takes a discriminating buyer, But we got depth finders now, what cost $3,000 a piece. You see.
Oh yes.
So, but it weighs. Like I say, it weighs. And I've got one that weighs 5 pounds that starts my 375 horse race drag engine, and it ain't that big. You see.
Yep.
So it's just new technology that's coming. This is the new electric cars have got some of the same technology, and so as time goes on, they'll be less and less. Somewhere down the road, lead batteries will be no more because of the EPA and all that. It's coming. I don't know how long it'll be.
Right. Right.
So it's just something that we do. So obviously, it takes a specialty guy that wants the ultimate deal. We combine those with that, what I call my floating jack plate. I can show you here after a while. And we combine those, and so you can put these up front.
Yeah.
And the boat don't hardly know it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
28 pounds up there in the front, and it's your trolling motor weighs that much,
well,
not a little more.
It weighs a little more than that. You see, so that's then that takes all the backwash out of the boat, a lot of them, because it don't sink it as bad.
Right,
so we got a lot of neat stuff down there.
Right.
We got technicians, and we got flow injectors. We can talk about those if you want to next. Or
all right. Well, let me ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
While you got it setting up here.
Okay.
How long is that battery going to last you as far as years of service? Are we looking at 6
They guaranteed
months?
4 years.
Guaranteed for 4 years. Dang.
I've got some of the little ones I've had 4 years, and they still start.
Still going good.
And they've projected life to last 10. Now, I haven't checked with the life of these new, like the new electric Leaf and the Volt Chevrolet cars,
right.
But I haven't heard any bad problems as far as replacing the batteries. You see,
right?
So it's new technology. They've been out 3 or 4 years, I guess now. But it's a very unique product.
4-year warranty.
Most time our regular batteries about a year, sometimes two,
and then they want to prorate that.
Yeah,
so that's I haven't heard. That's the longest warranty I've heard of on a battery.
It is. So that's a good deal.
Fact. Yeah, it sure is. If you can get, if you were buying a set, and I've done this. I've had to do it a time or two. It used to, if I got 2 years or a year and a half out of the set, I thought I was doing pretty good.
That's true.
And you go run over here to fish, and you get there, and for about 2 hours you got good battery power, and next thing you know, they're dead.
Yes.
Your big engine, your depth finder go. A few years back, that was the first thing when you hit the key switch on your engine. When the depth finder went out, you was in trouble, and that was always the weakest link. That's where the weakest link was at, and you could tell when your battery was gone. When that depth finder at that time is that old flasher unit, and it just go, just die out to. The bulb would go out, and then the whole 9 yards, it wouldn't hardly turn, so you knew right then your battery was gone.
We're beginning to increase the battery capacity and reserve capacity on our cranking battery now. Because used to, we as long as it started, the engine was fine.
Right.
But now that thing's got to run sometimes for several hours with high dollar, or not high dollar, all of them's high dollar, but some kind of pretty good current draw.
Yes, sir.
I mean, and if you're not, you got your lights, and you've got your depth finders, and you got your aerators, and so now we begin to increase, basically putting deep cycle dual purpose on the starting batteries now.
Right, I hear you. It makes a lot of sense because that motor's got a lot of amp draw when you try to crank.
It sure has.
So makes sense. Okay, Herschel, turn the phones on, and we're going to talk about this performance jack plate. Be the next thing Glenn's brought with him, and hopefully we get some calls, and in the meantime we'll be talking about that. All right.
I'll leave that open there so I can show them that it's hollow down inside there.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Glenn, tell us the purpose of the setback and the plate. As far as what we're looking for.
All setbacks on boats. I go back to the year when I was a kid and we had a seesaw. And if you want to lift a big guy out there, you'd scoot it back and get you some leverage. And So that's what a jack plate does. It between the pad and the prop, it gives that leverage to lift the nose up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the proper setback makes the engine transom take less stress than I guess you've seen boats going down the river throwing a rooster tail
Yeah.
with the motor trimmed up.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? That motor's driving
Down.
of all the horsepower it's got. So that's put more. So the proper setback on a boat is very critical. You see, and most of them run anywhere from some of them got 3 or 4 to 5, 6 inches in the boat, and then they've got anywhere from a 10 to 14 on the plate itself. You know?
Right.
And then of course some of them is back as much as 2 or 3 foot. You know.
Man, wow.
Some of them you have to get a creeper to put the drain plug in. You know. So there are all sorts of product out there. You know?
Yeah, I hear you. But you explained that perfectly. If it's leverage.
It's leverage like a seesaw when we was a kid, you know. When we
right.
And then so that changes your whole props when the boat lifts naturally. We call it natural lift, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes less trim, and you got better control. You know, I mean, it's the
right.
If the boat is like his pin, if the motor's real close, you have less control up here. But if you move it back here, you've got you some leverage on the directional control.
Yeah.
Between the skeg on the motor
yes,
and the corners of the pad on the boat, you see.
Right.
And that gives you
a little more leverage to steer and maneuver the boat around and lift it.
Yes, sir. And sometimes you can move a boat an inch and back a couple of inches and go back to the river, and it's just like it can either hurt it or it can help it.
Yeah. Rule of thumb, I've always been told, if you're going to go up or down with it, go to 1/4 inch at a time.
Yes, sir.
Because it's it might not take but a 1/4 inch, and it might take 2 1/4.
And watch your water pressure gauge.
Watch your water pressure gauge for sure.
And then you can feel the handling. If the boat starts slipping, then we need to let it down. You see. So so we do all that, and it's a pretty good. It makes the boat handle good.
Yeah. Well, it's that performance you're talking about, Glenn. It sure is. Well, there we got a caller. Let's see who we got here. Hello, caller.
Hello, Steve.
Yes, sir.
This is Jerry. You're here?
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, why don't you tell him about your father-in-law losing his boat there on Clinton Highway on Halloween?
Oh, I told that the other day. That was my uncle.
Oh, your uncle?
Yeah, that was my uncle. Yeah, sure was.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
I remember that, and I still laugh about it. I think that's the funny thing I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's all true, Jerry. It sure was. I told that the other week there before Halloween, and some of my kinfolk called in and said, "I know who you were talking about." I said, "Yeah, I'm not going to name his name, but he did. He dropped his boat off the boat trailer on Halloween night."
You mean lost it off the trailer?
Yeah, lost it. He had got home with the trailer, and he realized then he drove all the way to Solway.
Didn't have no boat.
Didn't have no boat. And it was sitting over there, and at that time, Howard's department store was there on the turnpike.
Mm-hmm.
That's when how many years ago it was. And anyway, he comes back and down the hill there by Y12 Credit Union, this, that, and the other, and all these blue lights flashing. He said there must have been 25 cop cars there. See, they people were calling in to the station, and they all thought it was a prank caller.
Halloween joke, right?
Halloween joke, and sure enough, he gets down there and wheels around, and there's enough 500 people gathered up there, and they just picked that boat up, throw it on his trailer. He didn't even get out of his truck. He said that cop latched it down, and I pulled out.
Before you got no tickets, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So that was a true story, Jerry. It sure was, and it took me a few weeks to find out about it, but I it didn't surprise me.
I think that was worth listening to.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Have you got a good question? Have you got a good question for Glenn here?
No, my mind's blank now.
All right. Okay, man.
Thank you for talking to me.
Hey, thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Keep watching the show, Jerry.
All right, man.
See you, buddy. Lordy. that was some experience there on that boat deal. I'm telling you, I laughed so hard. My mom told me about it, and then I got up with him and laughed again. So
you heard a story about the guys riding down the road, and the boat come off the ball, and one of them looked down and said, "Boy," said, "there goes a boat by us. Looked like your boat."
But listen, you know, and I know anything is possible when you're fooling with boats. And I'm telling you, you've seen a lot more than I have, and I thought I've seen it all, you know. And Mike and I were standing down there at the BASS that year that they had it on Watch Bar in '72, was it, Mike? And all these guys came in down there to fish that tournament at White's Creek, and White's Creek at that time was, you know, real nice, probably the nicest resort on the lake. Mm-hmm. And they were all loading up their boats, and this one guy comes up there, and his buddy's in the truck, backing the trailer in, and he's saying, come on back, you know. And we're standing up on the veranda there looking down at him, and he's gunning that thing. Next thing you know, bam, bam. The boat's sitting in the back of the truck. He just jumps right over the front roller, right over the tailgate, and it's just hanging there. And there, everybody's screaming and hollering, you know.
Well, as long as it don't hurt nobody, we got more fiberglass. Right?
More fiberglass. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's my philosophy. As long as it don't hurt nobody, we got. I tell the guys that tell you a quick story. I sold a guy an Allison one time, and he was up in Illinois, and he called me about a week later and almost crying. Mm-hmm. And he's down at the boat dock, tied up, and there's two girls in an inboard behind him, and I guess their other halves went up to the restaurant up there, but they cranked it and it was wide open, and it come up on top of him and landed right on, and he had to hold his hot foot down, and that boat bellered and run out from under it. And his name was Louis, and he called me about crying. I said, Louis, let me tell you something. I know your frustrations. But I said, we build you a new boat. I can't put that head back on.
Yeah, exactly right.
So long as we keep the head on straight, we can do something.
Exactly, Glenn. That's exactly right. Don't want anybody to get hurt for sure. But you've seen it all, you know, around these boat ramps and stuff. Hello, caller.
Oh, Steve Cox.
Hey, Mike.
And Glenn also. Glad to see him on the show tonight. He that's a man right there that's got a level of knowledge that my level of knowledge would fit on one fingernail compared to what he's got. But I sure appreciate him being on the show tonight. That sure explained a lot. But I do have a question for him. Got a 90 horsepower Evinrude on a Bumblebee bass boat that when I bought it, it had aluminum prop on it. I think it was a 17-inch pitch. And the insides just worn out. The rubber in it just wore out. And I put on I got a 19-inch stainless steel to put on it. And it doesn't come out of the hole very good. It's just for the fact that it didn't have a 17-inch.
Okay, your RPM, you top RPM. What's your top RPM on your tack?
Well, my RPM gauge is not working.
Okay, but from what you tell me, you need
to
back.
Those type boats. My question for you, Glenn, is I know they don't look good. I never liked them how they looked at all. But what's your opinion on a whale tail to help you come out smoother when you've got
it's a good
my situation is?
It's a good product. We have some that don't slow you down on top end that we use on our race boats. It's a pretty unique design. Come down, I'll show it to you. But I'd back down probably back to a 17 so you can pick your hole shot back up, you see.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. But I made a mistake by doing this. It's not something I can return. So.
Well, this is, at the first of the show, I talked about our program that we have a exchange program. It costs $40.
Got 10 minutes.
That you come along and buy a prop, and you can swap it for another, and it suits you for $40 exchange fee. You know, that pays me for the troubles and sometimes it's not a new prop anymore. So you got to sell it as a demo.
That sounds like a good program right there. This thing is brand spanking new.
What brand is it?
In fact, I've only I've only had it in the water for 30 minutes, but it's slow, and I actually let my kids, not my kids, but kids that live around here use it just right here in Whites Creek Cove. And since I've become disabled, I don't even really get to use it all, but I want to fix it up for them as if I was going to use it like I would want it. So I may want to talk to you about it.
That'd be fine. Come up, bring it up, and we'll look at it.
At the same time, I want to, and I was the one last week who talked to Steve about that 36 amp, 36 volt battery for the pontoon boat. I had rigged out a pontoon boat, and I was rigging it out 3 years ago, mainly for handicapped people, not realizing that I was going to become handicapped myself. So
we all never know, do we?
I've been out a pontoon boat for myself and didn't realize it at the time. But I've got a 109-pound thrust motor guide trolling motor.
Yes, sir.
That's 36 volt. That I would sure like to put it on the boat instead of putting 3 batteries up there in front of that thing.
Well, come by and talk to me, okay?
But as soon as my wife can get free, so she can drive me up there. My ability to walk is not that good right now, but as soon as I can free her up, I'll sure come up there and let you take a look at this 19, and if I can work out a deal with you there, probably be best if I go back to a 17. But I appreciate you being on the show. A lot of good information, and that's what Let's Go Fishing show is all about. I wouldn't miss it for nothing. So
Thank
guys,
you, Mike.
I appreciate you, and Glenn, I'll be coming up there to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
Okay, buddy. Good show.
Thank you, bud. See you. All right, folks. That's good to hear from Mike, and he's got some two good questions there, and this, that, and the other. Maybe he'll get up and see Glenn, get his boat fixed up. While we're waiting on another call here, I'm going to run over this stuff with some of my sponsors besides Glenn, and Glenn's one of the sponsors on the show. You all know that, and we're getting close to that first year being gone, Glenn, and it's been good to have you. I'll tell you that right now. Couldn't make it without you. Carm, folks, they got the Thanksgiving baskets adoption and giveaway. Make sure you remember them. And then the coats for the cold. Like I said the other week, they got two places there. Any of the Carm stores, they can drop those off. And then at Prestige Cleaners there, you can drop the coats off there. And I'm sure those people would appreciate any help you might be able to give in that. That's a good, worthy cause. Mountain Pizza, another sponsor. Every Monday night, they have family night. You can dine in. You get the special baked spaghetti and garlic sticks and the fountain drink for $7.99. Thursday nights, you got the big little kids night, the deep fried hot dog with the cut fries. And the fountain drink for $5.99. Then on Saturday night, they got from 6 to 9. They got karaoke. You folks that like that kind of thing, go by there and get your pizza or whatever you might want to eat and have some fun doing the karaoke there from 6 to 9 p.m. on Saturday night. Anytime, day or night, you got a large one topping pizza's $4.99, and then a large 2 topping pizza's $12.99. Remember those folks there at Mountain Pizza. Quick announcements here to make. I got the high school bass clubs has got the fishing seminar at Batley Church, the Family Life Center. This is coming Saturday, folks. That's 4 o'clock. You got Ott DeVoe, Wesley Strader, and Brandon Card's going to be there. Talking about fishing and talking to these young people about what it's like to get into the profession of fishing and for a living and like they do, that kind of thing. A bunch of bass clubs are committed to be there. Bryan College from down here at Dayton is going to be there. Some of their fishermen to attend this thing. So and it's open to the public. That's 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Out there at the Family Life Center there behind Batley Church in the Marlowe community. Then you got the Heartland Anglers. It's got a tournament Saturday at Caney Creek. Mike Ellis and them, that's 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. On that. That's down there at Caney Creek. Don't forget that this coming Saturday. Then you also got one at, let's see, yeah, here we go. Tom Fuller Park, James McNeely, he's got his on down there on Saturday also. They will be down there this Saturday, safe flight to 3 p.m. Then you got George Carroll at Point 19 this Saturday. He'll be up there doing that tournament for the Heartland Anglers. So, and then I got this one more deal here with the catfish, East Tennessee Catfish Anglers. Their classic is going to be at Caney Creek Saturday, and they're going to, Marty Carpenter is the guy running this thing, and I've talked to him. He's going to be a guest on the show the December the 5th, and I'm going to try my best. I've got to work Saturday, was told in for him today, but as soon as I can get off work, I'm going to run down to Caney Creek and try to get some film on those people down there and this catfish thing. And then, like I said, Marty's going to be on the show December the 5th with me and talk about the catfish, Glenn.
Sounds a good deal.
Yeah, he's they're into this catfish big time. So those announcements there for sure. Remember the sponsors, folks. I got one of them here with me tonight. Remember the rest of the sponsors. Can't do it without them. Got to have them.
Good deal.
It's like gas for your engine, Glenn.
Got to fill it up.
You got to fill it up. If you don't have gas, it won't run. So you and the rest of the sponsors keep the gas going and keep the show going. But I do, and I apologize to Edgemore Outdoors, Jim Williams. You know, you and I stood out in front of your store last week, and you told me about the 10% off all fishing products. And I came over here on that night, and how I didn't mention that, I'll never know. So, can I cash in on my 10%, Jim? Give me a call, will you? And, I thought about, I thought, man, I don't know if I even mentioned the 10% off. I know I mentioned Edgemore Outdoors. So, folks, Jim, I called him up there a while ago. He was back in the back working on a bow. So if you got, you bow hunters, whatever, get by up there and talk to Jim, fisherman. You better check with him. He's probably got a special going on this weekend. But we got to mention the Let's Go Fishing show, I guarantee you. Jim, I apologize for last week. I just had a mental lapse, one of those senior moments, I guess. Bill, good to see you. Good to be with you last night, you and Paul. Mike and I really enjoyed the trip. And, I wish we'd get another call, Glenn.
Well, where is Mountain Pizza, by the way?
It's right there going into Oliver Springs on the right. Okay. It's on Tri-County Boulevard there, right before you get to Food City.
Okay.
Right out past Hardy.
Well, that's good. That is.
Yeah. There you go. And we've ate there several times. Good. Got some good pizza. And they got some stir fry that's pretty dang good too.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, sir. Sure not. Folks, I hope you learned something with what Glenn brought to us tonight, and I really appreciate him coming over because his expertise in a lot of this stuff is way above a lot of people, and myself included. And just talking to him at times, you kind of see the light bulb come on. Glenn, I want to thank you so much. Yeah. For coming over, for being a sponsor on the show. And, hey, if you're looking for a new boat or a good used boat, stop by down there, Reynolds Racing Marine there, Harriman, and give him a quick look. He's got some nice stuff down there. Till next week, and we hope to see you next Thursday night. God bless you, and be safe. All right.